Good evening, class. So, we'll start with polity and governance topics. The topics are Government revises PM E-Drive scheme, Jan Vishwas Bill of 2026, Amaravati as the permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh, appointment of chairperson of National Commission for Backward Commission, and Kelo India Tribal Games. First is Government revises PM E-Drive scheme. Okay. The concept about your PM E-Drive scheme is, it is for your energy as in faster adoption of electric vehicles. Okay, the goal is we have to go towards greener energy, and also how can we do it? Through your electric vehicles. And how should we do? Faster adoption. If we let people to keep picking it, they will forever not pick it. But if you provide some incentives, there are many chances that they will pick this. So in this PM E-Drive scheme, we will be speaking about electric two-wheeler vehicles, electric three-wheeler vehicles, okay. So what is the full form of the scheme? PM Electric Drive Revolution in Innovation Vehicle Enhancement. This is the name of PM E-Drive scheme. Overall, they have earmarked 10,900 crores. Technically, the scheme was to be from October 2024 to March 2026. That is, last month it had to get over. But they gave an extension. Okay, this extension is for electric two-wheelers. It is up until 31st July 2026. For your electric three-wheelers, it will be up until 31st March 2028. So this becomes important is because the scheme was to end, the incentive was to end by last month, but they have increased the time period. Which is the ministry that is implementing this? Means Ministry of Heavy Industries. Done? Now, your PM E-Drive scheme is not the first scheme with regarding to promotion of electric vehicles. There were other schemes. What were those schemes? Means FAME scheme. Okay, faster. Again, the keyword here is faster adoption. Okay, you have to produce mass electric vehicles, and okay, it has to move towards ecosystem development. Whatever, now just because if you create electric vehicles, it is not sufficient. You have to create charging stations available entire throughout the country, and also they should be using modern battery technologies. Everything should be inbuilt and holistic. So what was the scheme your PM E-Drive ka before? It is FAME India scheme first phase and FAME India scheme second phase. One was in 2015, one was in 2019. Next, what are the objectives of creating this PM E-Drive scheme? If you see, first thing is charging infrastructure expansion. Electric vehicle means charging station should be there. So you will create charging infrastructure throughout the country. Second thing is EV adoption acceleration. You have to accelerate, increase the number of people using electric vehicles. Third thing is domestic manufacturing boost. We should not just buy it from some other countries. Make sure our own country produces batteries, etc. that is needed for this. Last is Atmanirbhar Bharat alignment or move towards self-sufficiency in manufacturing. Okay. Last is green mobility transition, that is towards a greener, cleaner alternate energy source. Who exactly will be getting benefited from these incentives? First is electric two-wheelers. Okay, that is your scooters, two-wheelers. Next is electric three-wheelers, autos, passenger autos, e-ambulances, okay, e-trucks, e-trucks with scraping certificates, which means old model is legally dismantled and a new model is created. This is not some stolen vehicles. Okay, and last is electric buses, e-buses, e-buses, e-trucks, e-ambulance, okay, electric two-wheeler, electric three-wheeler. This is applicable for both private and commercial users. Now, what exactly are the incentives they are trying to give? Because we spoke previously, gave incentives, no? They will give 15% off of your factory price. If factory tells 30,000, they'll give 15% off on that, okay? Or they will give a fixed ceiling. Now, if it is for electric two-wheeler, it should be, okay, equivalent to somewhere around 1.5 lakh. Electric two-wheeler should be around somewhere around 2.5 lakh. But if at all you are going to call something as electric two-wheeler or electric three-wheeler, one mandatory condition is advanced batteries should be there in that. You will not use older ones. Now, what are the targets they have kept? Which means, when will these incentives, now all these incentives I told they will give, no, they will stop when they achieve a particular target. What is the target? If at all in two-wheelers, if 24,000, 24 lakh 79,120 units are purchased, means that day incentives will stop. Why did they give that extension? Is because this much of target was not met. In electric three-wheelers, 39,034 units have to be clocked. Then this incentives will stop, which means considerable amount of people are using. And also L5 category is closed. What is L5 category means? This is more like cargo, passenger cargo, five-wheelers. For those, December 2025 was the last date they were giving incentives. So anyone who purchases your passenger cargo after December 2025, for them no incentives will be given. This is only for your passenger cargo. Okay, they have to achieve this target by 2025, but again now they kept on increasing. Now, remember we spoke about charging infrastructure, that is electric vehicles. If you give, that is not sufficient, you also have to give charging infrastructure. Wherever they go, they should be able to charge it. So what they want to do is they want to create 72,300 public fast chargers. Like wherever we go, we have petrol bunks. Like that, wherever we go, we need to have electric stations, is what they are telling. And also, this should cover almost all of the major tier 1 cities compulsorily. Tier 2 will be second stage, and selected highways, your fast highways, in those places this should mandatorily be there. And the digital component, they have not left it at that. They have also told that BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, this will develop something called as a super app, EV super app. What you will see in this app means, now I am going, okay, I'm going on a road trip, but I don't know where I'm going in my electric car, but I don't know where my next charging station is available. So in this EV super app, I can find out. And also I can book my slot, I can pay online only. All these provisions are there. Now, in order to make this, they are spending around 780 crore rupees. And any of these, now let's say if you create charging station, it is not important. You have to constantly keep upgrading to the new model so that the charging stations also will work. So upgrading of testing agency will also be done under this, that is under Ministry of Heavy Industries, and this will focus on advanced EV testing technologies, because electric vehicle component spare, it is very fast growing. You have to keep up with the new changes happening. Last, eligibility conditions. If you have to receive incentives and you have to be applicable to this means, first and foremost we told that electric vehicle should use advanced battery technology. Second thing is, it must comply with center motor vehicle rules. For all your motor vehicles, motor vehicle means anything that is running, it should all comply with the rules that is made by central motor vehicle rules. And it has to be manufactured, the electric vehicles have to be manufactured and registered within this timeline, October 2024 to March 2026. Now one important thing is, now earlier while I was telling, this is applicable to both private as well as commercial. Let's say I am going to buy one electric bus for private, only for my use. Next, I will buy that electric bus and I will use it for public transportation. Okay, in all this I can use, but even government will use buses and everything. But this incentives will not be for government purchases. Understanding why? Because it will just be internal transfer of money. Government to government only money is going. So what is the point of giving incentive? People can't afford it. People will be facing difficulty. So you will give incentives. Why should you give for government? Okay. So this is done in order to avoid internal fund transfer. Done. Let's see one possible question on this. Consider the following statements regarding the PM E-Drive scheme. The scheme is implemented by Ministry of Heavy Industries. This is correct. The scheme provides incentives only for electric two-wheelers. No, it is not only for electric two-wheelers, it is electric two-wheelers, electric three-wheelers, e-ambulance, correct, e-buses, okay. So, it is not only for electric two-wheelers. Second statement is wrong. The scheme includes development of EV charging infrastructure. Yes, if you just give the vehicle with no charging, it is useless. Correct option is 1 and 3 only. Next topic is Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provision Bill 2026. Okay. See, first and foremost is, this is still a bill only. It has not become a law. What is this Jan Vishwas, as the name tells? This is pure on pure your governance topic. Jan Vishwas means moving towards public trust, transparency. So first I'll explain the background of this. So what happened means, in our country, judiciary, if you see, it is highly overburdened. Now because of this, many cases are always pending in front of judiciary, lakhs and lakhs of cases. Why, if you see, one of the reason is, yes, we have shortage of judges, but one more condition is also because even for minor civilian offences also there is criminal charges. Okay, even for petty offences. Let's assume your motor vehicles, okay, you are traveling every day. Throughout on your name, one single black mark is also not there. You always follow traffic rules, discipline, everything. One day in a hurry you skipped a red light. Okay. In this, what happened now, if the law tells you skip red light, you have to pay 10,000 rupees fine, or you have to go to your police station. We will take your vehicle and go. Now here they are not even considering that you don't have a history of doing any of these things. They are just telling, you crossed it, that's it. Now that itself will take huge pendency of cases. Instead, what government is trying to now create means decriminalize petty offences. If it is a first time offence, why don't you just give a warning? If it is first time offence, instead of dragging them to police station, lodging FIR and all those, petty offence means small offences. It should not be like big murders and all. For this, first time probably give a warning. Second time also, if they do this, then give them a penalty. Okay, through this way you yourself are trying to deal with these cases than taking everything to court cases. So in this manner the pendency of court cases also will reduce. Second thing is, you will move away from punitive. You should not always keep punishing citizens for even small offense. Let it be based on public trust. And by public trust, you should have a huge transparency. See, you're not supposed to do this. If you do this, first time we'll give you warning, second time we'll put penalty. Third time also if you do, we will call you repeated offender and then we will press charges on you. So this way people also will be having a transparency. Okay, the government is for people. That is why the name Jan Vishwas, People's Trust Bill. Okay. So, what is the purpose of Jan Vishwas Bill? To improve ease of doing business, ease of living in India, and also decriminalizing your petty offences, building a trust-based governance, and most importantly, you will give civil penalties instead of criminal punishments. Okay, which means criminal punishment means you will charge them. Civil means you will just give them warnings, punishment, penalties, those kind. So this will further reduce the burden on courts and it will improve regulatory compliance, which means people will be more following it if they can trust you. Public trust increases, transparency increases, the government and governance will work properly. So the whole point, it is a shift from punitive governance. Punitive governance means punishment based governance to trust based governance. This is important. So under this, how many provisions are they thinking to change like that means 784 provisions. In that 717 provisions are decriminalized. These are petty offences. 80 central acts are also covered and 23 ministries are involved. This is one of the largest decriminalization reforms we have undertaken. So, What acts and all also covered in this means RBI Act of 1934, FSSAI Food Safety and Security Act of 2006 and Motor Vehicles Act of 1988. What sectors is this speaking about? Which means if you do petty offences in these sectors, it's okay. I will not decriminalize for everything. Means real estate, coal, mining, shipping, petroleum, power, railways, copyrights and patents. Now, how will they do? Minor offences they will now consider it as civil penalties and not criminal offences. First time if they do, they will give a warning. Then if second time also they continue, then it will be fines or your monetary fines. Let's say you have to pay so much so for the second time offence. But if you are a repeated offender, then only criminalization will come in. Okay. No imprisonment for minor offences. With this act only they are trying to bring about. But existing acts, even for petty offences also, there is your concept of imprisonment. You will convert a civil case into a criminal case only if there is willful default, which means let's say a particular person often will keep on giving checks which will bounce every time. You are knowing that and then only giving. And repeated defaulters, serious violators, in these cases they will make it into a criminal case. Okay. So, how are they trying to bring about changes? Again, who will give this punishment? Civil cases pay, okay, warning I will give you, second time you have to give some fines. Who will give? Means they are creating a separate set of body called as adjudicating officer. He will be the one who will decide whether should I just give a warning or should I give him some penalty. Or if he is a repeated offender, then I should convert it into criminal case. So, adjudicating officer, which means you are further reducing the burden on courts. Otherwise, if you make that also as court, again it has to look into that. And if the decision given by them you don't like, then there is also one appellate authority. Who that is? It will be as prescribed by the government. The courts will only get involved only if there are serious offences. So, through this way you are bringing administrative adjudication system, which means you are making the administrative only look into these and not just burden your courts. So, how was this particular system created? Means it was based on so many high level committees by Niti Aayog, Parliamentary Select Committee, and they took the consultation of 49 sittings they did in order to create this bill, and also they asked industry experts as to how can we make India's governance better. Based on all theirs, they have created this bill. Right now, we'll see one question on this. Consider the following statements. The Jan Vishwas Bill 2026 aims at decriminalization of minor offences. Yes. Again, here the key word is decriminalization and minor offences. It replaces criminal penalties with civil penalties for certain violations. Yes, for petty violations. Correct. It removes criminal penalties for all offences under Central Acts. No, if all offences if you remove, then what is the point? For serious offences, you are still keeping it under criminal cases only. Only for petty and minor offences, you are keeping it under civil cases. So only statement 1 and 2 are correct. Next, Amaravati is permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh. So, in 2014, Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In this period of time, they also told that in 2014, your Hyderabad will serve as a common capital. Hyderabad will serve as common capital for both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana for 10 years. Okay. So, technically from 2014, 10 years means by 2024 it had to end. In between, what had politicians decided means they thought for Andhra Pradesh they will create 3 capitals. What is the 3 capitals means? One was for executive capital, one was for legislative capital, and one was for your judicial capital. Okay. Now what happened? This was how it was. But recently, Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly, okay, that is State Ka Legislative Assembly, passed one bill. What is that bill means? For Andhra Pradesh, make one permanent change. What is that change means? Make Amaravati as the capital of Andhra Pradesh. They made this bill in 2025-26, but they told make this concept of Amaravati as the capital from 2024, which means this is a retrospective law. Write down up until here, then I will explain in detail about your retrospective law. Okay. So, retrospective law means even though I am making a law, let's say in 2025, but I will tell the day I am passing this bill is 2025. But you make sure this is applicable from 2024. So, present date pay I can be and I can tell this law is applicable from previous date. That is called retrospective law. Now, because Andhra Pradesh passed a bill like this stating that Amaravati will be the permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh, we will not create 3 capitals like earlier we told. Okay. Because of this, Lok Sabha also introduced a bill. Okay. What is that bill means? To make Amaravati as the permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh. Now, this is the first time in the history of independent India that a bill has been introduced to make one particular city as a capital of a state. Why else the bill has been introduced? Bifurcation bills have been introduced. Merger of 2 states, your bill will be introduced. Name change, they will introduce. Increasing or decreasing the size of the state, they will introduce. But up until now, in 77 odd years of independence, this is the first time they have introduced a bill to tell, okay, you make this particular city as a capital of a state. That is why this is important. Amaravati will be the sole and permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh. This is passed by your parliament because it was also passed by your Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly. Now, when they tell sole and permanent capital means this cannot be that easily changed in the future. That does not mean it cannot be changed at all. Each government comes, let them not keep making one change. Previous government was there, they told we will create 3 capitals. This government will tell I will create 1 capital. Next government will come again, they'll tell 3 capital. That is not correct, no? So that is why they told make sure that they will not misuse this provision. So, where and all your let's say parliament had to make changes to make it like this means in section 5 of Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2006 telling that yes, for maximum 10 years Hyderabad was capital for both Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. That ended in 2024. From 2024 the capital of Andhra Pradesh will be Amravati. This is what they have told. So earlier Hyderabad is the common capital for 10 years of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Now it is only Amravati for Andhra Pradesh. So when exactly the bifurcation happened was in 2nd June 2014. The common capital, because of 10 years, it ended in 2nd June of 2024. Amravati will become the capital from your 2nd June 2024. This we are telling in 2026. How are we able to tell? Because it is a retrospective law. It is coming from present law but applicable from previous date. I remember earlier I told you they had planned for 3 capitals. What were the 3 capitals? Means Visakhapatnam will be the executive capital where government will be. Amravati will be the legislative capital, which means where your state legislative assembly will be. And lastly, your Kurnool will be your judicial capital where your High Court and all will be. This was the 3 capitals earlier they proposed. Now no such thing. Only 1 capital for all 3, legislature, executive, judiciary, that is Amravati. Next, if they have to make any particular changes further, they can't do it that easily. Why? Because for the first time Parliament has passed the law to declare specific city as permanent capital of a state. Because of this provision, you can't just frequently change the capital. Now, why did your Andhra Pradesh even tell that they needed 3 capital? Means based on one committee recommendation, that is K.C. Shiva Ramakrishna committee, which told that capital should be decentralized. But this is not accepted because finally they made Amravati as the single capital. We'll see one question on this. Consider the following statements. Amravati has been declared the permanent capital of Andhra Pradesh by a parliamentary law. Correct. The law amends the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act of 2014. That is also correct. The law gives retrospective effect to Amravati's capital status from June 2024. Yes. Retrospective means previous date. Even though I am passing it in 2026, I am telling it's applicable from 2024. All 3 are correct. Appointment of chairperson of NCBC. Your NCBC means National Commission for Backward Classes. this became a constitutional body from year 2018 onwards. That doesn't mean this body existed only in 2018. It existed before also, but as a statutory body. Now, who are backward classes? If you see, those who are, this is very important. Those who are just socially and educationally backward will be considered as OBCs, not economic backward. Done? So, in our country, we have always had this concept of social and educational backwardness. That's how your judiciary tells also. Based on this is where we give reservation. A reservation to your OBCs. This is where we would have seen about your Indira Sawhney case, where they would have, Polity, they would have taught you 27% of a reservation for your OBCs. And in that also for OBCs, they introduced something called as, correct, creamy layer and non-creamy layer. Anyone who is belonging to OBC but has good economic scenario, then they will come under creamy. They will not get reservation benefit even though they are coming into a backward class. Whereas there are certain backward classes who are economically also lower and belonging to a backward class, which is social backward and educational backwardness, they will get the reservation. This was done. Now why is it in news? Means they have recently appointed a chairperson and a member of NCBC. That is why this body is coming into news. Who is the chairperson? Means Niranjan Jyoti is the chairperson. Kiran Umesh Mahalle is the member. These are the newly appointed people. Now, NCBC, National Commission for Backward Class, is a constitutional body. It is only for social and educational backward. We call them as backward classes. It is present from 1993 but only as a statutory body. 2018 onwards it became a constitutional body. In which Act? 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2018. It derives its power, that is NCBC derives its powers from Article 338B. Now, we'll see few articles. Your National Commission for BC receives its power from Article 338B. National Commission for SC receives it from Article 338. National Commission for ST will receive its power from Article 338A. This becomes very important. Alongside this, in the same 102nd Constitutional Amendment, they also introduced something called as Article 342A, which means President has the power to mention which particular socially and educationally backward class will fall under OBC. They also told state also can tell that within their respective state. OBC within the state, OBC outside the state. So, one central list, one state list. Now, 105th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2021 told that state also has the power to identify state OBC list. So, we have one central list, we have one state list. This was told in 105th Constitutional Amendment. In the center, it is President who can do that. Now, overall your NCBC can have how many members? Means 5 members will be there. Who are they? 1 chairperson, 1 vice chairperson and 3 members. Among these persons, at least one should be a woman. Okay, and at least 2 people should belong to your backward classes. They are all appointed by President of India by warrant under his hand and seal, which means he is the appointing authority. Okay, so what should be the qualification if you have to be a member of NCBC? Means first and foremost, the chairperson should be someone who is a eminent socio-political worker from SCBC. In simpler sense, we are trying to tell that if you are going to be made a chairman of a socially and educationally backward group, then you should be in a position that will set an example for that. You should also be from backward class. You should have did your work and service in such a way that will pave way for many people to take you as the inspiration. Okay, and there should be at least 2 members from socially educationally, that is they also should belong to OBC, and 1 should be a woman. Now, how many years can they work? Maximum is 3 years. And the members of this NCBC, if they have to again hold the same position, okay, that is eligible for reappointment. How many times are they eligible for reappointment? Means 2 terms they can hold maximum. So in total 3 plus 3, 6 years they can hold maximum. But 1 term is 3 years. All their salary, service conditions, etc. are all decided by the President of India. Why? Because they were all appointed by warrant under his hand and seal. No? So what are their functions? First and foremost, they will investigate into all the safeguards for your socially and educationally backward classes. They will also do inquiry into complaints coming from the OBCs to them. They will also advise the government on socio-economic development for OBCs, and they will report, give an annual report to the President, who will table it in front of Parliament. So what are the powers your NCBC has? Means it has similar powers of a civil court, which means it can ask any person, summon any person, public official or government official to come show records, give reporting, and also they can have evidence shown to them, and they can call for documents of government officials, and also they can examine the witnesses. They can punish. Apart from that, they can do everything. Okay, and issue commissions as to what are the underlying issues with regarding to OBCs. So after 102nd amendment, after getting constitutional status, what and all they can do? Means before the NCBC was a statutory body. That time the only role they could do was recommend OBC inclusion or exclusion, which means there will be one list which caste should be added in OBC, which caste should be removed from OBC list. That's all. But after this NCBC became a constitutional body, then it must be consulted on all the matters you take with regarding to OBCs. And this will also play the role of grievance redressal and has the powers of civil court. We'll see one prelims question on this. Consider the following statements regarding National Commission for Backward Classes. It is a constitutional body. Presently, it is a constitutional body. It was given constitutional status by the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Correct. Its powers are derived from Article 338. 338B is your OBC, 338A, 338 is SC. So, correct statements are 1 and 2 only. Last topic, Khelo India Tribal Games. So, we have something called as Khelo India program, which means you will affiliate youth with sports. This is an older scheme only. But for the first time, they have introduced something called as Khelo India Tribal Games, which means this is also for youth, this is also to affiliate them with sports, but one difference is this will be specifically and only for your tribal youth. Now in this what happened means, recently they held it in Chhattisgarh. Which one? Khelo India Tribal Games of 2026. In this, throughout all India tribal areas, people and all states will participate. Means of all them, Karnataka bagged the highest number of medals. The host was held in Chhattisgarh, that got the 9th position. Done? Why is it in news? Because for the first time Khelo India Tribal Games was conducted. The host was your Chhattisgarh, it was conducted in Chhattisgarh. Which state won the majority medals? Means it was Karnataka. Okay. This is the mascot. Mascot means like a representation of your Khelo India Tribal Games. This is the first India's national multi-sport event. It did not have only one event, it had multiple sports category and it was at India's national level for all the states. This was conducted from 25th March to 3rd April. It was conducted in 3 places in Chhattisgarh: Raipur, Jagadalpur and Surguja. Now, this was organized by whom means Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Sports Authority of India, Indian Olympic Association, National Sports Federation and Government of Chhattisgarh. Not one of them did it. A culmination of all of these people is what organized this. The mascot of your Khelo India Tribal Games is Morveer. Morveer means our. Veer means brave. Okay. Now, which states got the highest number of rankings? Means Karnataka had the first highest, second is Odisha, third is Jharkhand, fourth is Maharashtra. Now there are some very important athletes here as to your Manikanta from Karnataka. He came up as the most important athlete. And Anjali Munda from your Odisha, alongside a lot of sports. Okay, this was not just one sporting activity, a lot of them were there. Among those important ones were Mallakamb and Kabaddi. All your sports, whichever we see here, are all something that is indigenous or local to India and Indian tribal people. Why are they conducting? And this is important is because this is the first time such an event is happening. So why exactly are they conducting Kelo Tribal India? See, Kelo India pet, doesn't it mean that tribal people will not come? No, there also you can add, but that time it will not be only indigenous sports. It can be other sports also. But this is specifically only for tribal people and indigenous games. So what is the objective means? It is to identify the tribal talent, promote the tribal sports. This is very important. And grassroots sports development. From the basic grassroots level, they should be given an affinity towards sports. And this Kelo India tribal program will come under the main aegis of Kelo India program. We'll see one prelims question from this. Consider the following statements regarding the Kelo India tribal games. It is the first national multi-sport event exclusively for tribal athletes. Correct. It was held in Chhattisgarh. It was organized only by the Indian Olympic Association. See, if it was organized by that time, to an extent you can consider that, but they are mentioning only by, no, it was not organized only by them. There was a lot of people involved in this. So this statement is wrong. Correct options are 1 and 2 only. Okay. This we come to the end of the content. Any doubts? Anything you didn't understand? Online class, any doubts? Anything you didn't understand? Then we'll end the session.